of it is plastic. A lot of it is plastic bags. And right now we have biodegradable plastic bags.
Yeah.
So that would be a better choice.
Sure. Anything biodegradable. It's got to be. We've got to do it right away. We can't wait.
Right. One of the big offenders we have are the single-use coffee pods. And I'll show you an example.
No, I heard about that guy.
Those things can take
He regrets. You're talking about the Cornig, whatever his name is?
We don't want to use names.
We don't want to put his name on? But he feels bad about it now. He's got to figure out a way now to... there was a reason why I didn't like those things, and that's a definite reason why.
And I will show you in a moment an alternative use. So you continue to use that machine.
All right.
But the point is, those things get dumped into the household trash, and they end up in our landfill. And they take years and years and hundreds of years to degrade while they're leaching toxic plastic resins into the ground. So that's part of what this proposed bylaw is about.
Is anybody else doing this outside of Massachusetts?
Yes, it's a good question. Recently, the city of Seattle has done this. Malibu, California has done it. Costa Rica has done it.
Oh.
Thailand has done it. There are countries in Europe considering doing this.
But this is just a drop in the bucket, though, isn't it, Bruce?
It has to start somewhere. And you know what? Nantucket's a good place to start, because this community always comes together when we need something to help our environment and to preserve and protect our aquifer, our groundwater.
I totally agree with you. Andy Lowell got up at the selectmen's meeting this week. You know, it wasn't part of the agenda, but he got up and he said, we got to start to have hazardous waste day daily, where, you know, even if it's just 2 hours, where people can get rid of their hazardous waste and we know where it's going, so we make it easier for people to get rid of it. We have to be much more proactive about everything we do in the environment right now. Everything.
I agree with you. I want to show you some alternatives.
All right, good.
And whether you edit this out or whatever, but...
You got to show it to...
We've all seen this picture of the turtle.
Yeah.
In the flexible yoke.
Right.
And this is the flexible yokes, our six-pack yokes.
They're still going?
They still make these. And, you know, they break down eventually into smaller pieces of plastic that get ingested by the fish. And we ended up... It ends up in our food chain.
Another thing, microbeads that women use to clean their face.
Exactly.
Those are plastic.
Exactly. This is a six-pack holder, and you've seen these. Animals don't get entrapped in these. And now there are actually breweries that are making edible six-pack holders.
But, you know, what about the cost, though? You can't charge it an extra, 25, 50 cents for somebody's six-pack.
It's not impacting their sales. And they've asked these folks, and you know what? If there's no other choice to these flexible holders,
that those guys
will find a way.
They'll pay. Everyone will pay a little extra to make sure that we don't have.
Exactly.
We get rid of this.
Same way with the straws. I'll show you the straws in a minute. But let's. Here.
All right.
4 towns have banned these bottles already. We can go around with refillable bottles.
Right.
There are refill stations in town, in the high school, at the Athenaeum. We just have to stop using that plastic. That it doesn't degrade.
And the town should put more water fountains. They took them out a few years ago. They got rid of them. Now they got to put them back.
Exactly.
So people can just have a drink of water instead of buying bottled water.
I got this at Cumbies.
Mandatory.
Got it at Cumbies. It doesn't have a plastic lining in it.
Right.
It's good for you, and it comes with a compostable lid. Now, compostable doesn't mean you can put it in your backyard compost pile.
No.
It has to be, right now, commercially compostable. However, You see the digester right there.
Yeah, I'm going to go drive right by that sucker. Look at that. It's working right
Sure.
now.
There is some consideration being made right now that we might be able to use the digester to compost some of the plant-based plastics that would ordinarily have to go off island. In order to compost these things, it has to be at 165 degrees or higher for 3 to 5 days. So you'd interrupt the cycle right now, but part of the issue is then we would have to separate our compostable plastics from the others.
Now, those tops, if you don't put them at 165 degrees, how long would it take for it to compost?
Years.
But it would eventually. It would take years.
It would eventually, and if they're made out of plant-based plastics, and I'll show you in a moment how to tell.
Yeah, but you can't make them out of petroleum, though.
Well, they can, and they can say compostable on it. We want them made out of plant-based, and I'll show you in a moment.
Okay.
This, remember we talked about the coffee pods?
Yeah. Yeah.
This pod, and they use the Nantucket name to market it, is not recyclable unless you take it apart into its aluminum top, its fiber-based filter, and the coffee grounds. Those are all perfectly compostable and recyclable. This is not. But there are alternatives. And I brought some here to show you. This is a coffee pod made by the San Francisco Bay Coffee Company. The plastic ring is made from corn-based plastic. It's biodegradable. The lid is fiber, and there's no cup. That's a filter and coffee. Here you go.
What's the increase in cost, would you say? Or do you know?
I ordered some on the internet. It's no more expensive than me ordering some Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, but this one compared to the plastic one.
I didn't see any additional cost. It's very competitive, the same price.
Wow.
Now,
so that should be mandatory. They shouldn't be allowed to do those anymore.
Look at this. This is a reusable K-cup. You put a filter in there, like the one I just showed you. You put your coffee in, you close it, put it in the machine, brew your coffee, take it out, and you reuse it.
Bruce, can they make those reusable, compostable too?
I imagine they could. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be the way to go? And get rid of the petroleum and the chemicals. Get rid of the chemicals.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what's killing us, isn't it?
So I'm just showing you some alternatives.
Okay.
And it's important that these questions, of course, here are the straws.
All right.
And you know these straws are all plastic.
Yeah.
Number 5 plastic. They can't be recycled. It becomes litter.
Yeah. There's no reason for coffee stirs that are not wooden. Come on.
Here they are. Wooden stirs.
Use wooden.
There they are. And some of the places in town are already using them.
And we're not using trees the way we used to, believe it or not, because the digital internet has created you don't need paper as much, so we've got plenty of trees that we could use.
These are alternative straws, and you've seen some of these. The metal straw that the town was giving out, and you've got the silicone straws that I mentioned before, and you have all these other paper straws that the Aardvark company is making. They'll last up to an hour in a drink. How long does it take to drink a drink?
Right, that's right.
The striped ones you see here, I actually picked up in Kentucky at a tavern and a restaurant. Maker's Mark Distillery is giving them away to every restaurant, bar that their distributors service. Free. We can get our distributors to help us here too. But there are sustainable alternatives to all this plastic stuff. I brought some other examples that I think you'll find interesting.
Okay.
This is a plastic product that I got at our grocery store. Prepackaged off island. And this bylaw doesn't affect prepackaged stuff from off island, but this came from off island, and it is in a complete plastic container made from plant-based resins. and I'm going to show you in a moment how to tell. But these containers that I got from our grocery store are plant-based, so they're starting to do it. And these, of course...
And how long would a plant-based piece of plastic take to biodegrade?
Months.
Months, okay.
Months.
Months.
These are takeout containers that are completely biodegradable and compostable, as opposed to the large ones that we get that, excuse me a second while I reach down here, that we get from some of our stores that are plastic.
Yes.
And what the hell are you going to do with it? It's not recyclable anymore. Here's some more examples. I went to our grocery store to get corn. I got it in a plastic bag. Why are we still doing plastic bags on Nantucket?
Okay, we have plant-based of these now, don't we?
They say they're compostable, but you got to ship them off.
So when I go to the Stop and Shop
Yep.
and I use this to pick up my tomatoes, or clear
Here,
that one. Oh,
right
you got
there.
one. That's plastic?
This is plastic. It says very clearly it's made from recyclable materials.
Oh yeah, no, sorry.
But
that's not going to work. Get rid of it.
these products, the town, in one of its brochures says are acceptable. These are non-recyclable, non-compostable plastic utensils and a plastic plate. Here's an example of completely compostable.
Look at
These are bamboo, completely compostable, biodegradable.
Those are expensive, though. Come on, Bruce.
They're a little more expensive, but you know what? If you don't have household stuff and you want the convenience of this, it's an alternative. I'm not saying these are the greatest yet.
No, I'm just challenging you a little bit here.
Here's a fiber-based product. I got this at Disney World. They are using recyclable products now.
Compostable.
Yes.
Not just recyclable plastic.
And as an alternative, don't forget the old paper plate.
Yeah.
And some of our local stores and vendors are actually using compostable plastic utensils. And I think the town needs to say that if they want to say plastic utensils are okay, they should say they should be compostable. And we should go to stores that do this.
Those are nice.
Yes, they're very good.
We should support them. But now, Bruce, I know you say you want it voluntary, but I think we're done with that. I think we need enforcement.
The bylaw is meant to be enforced by commercial users. We have to start somewhere.
Right,
now,
okay, all right.
This product comes from off island. It's one of my, being a single guy, microwave guy.
Yeah.
Single food dinner, and it comes in a fiber-based, biodegradable package. So the point is, there are sustainable alternatives. Enforcing this will be up to the discretion of the town manager. If it becomes unwieldy, she can call for a suspension of it. The select board can decide what to do. And I have to tell you, the version you're going to vote on is going to be slightly different than what's printed in the Warren article. And as I said, I didn't have advice of town council before it went into the Warren article. After that, I got some comments from town council. They needed a definition of single use. I provided it. We provided a definition of commercial use. Town council said, get rid of the long finding section in the bylaw. It's not needed. They refined a little bit of the enforcement section. They expressed concern that, this might be subject to legal challenge. Well, these bylaws that the other 4 towns passed were approved by the state attorney general. Our bylaw is based on that same language from those 4 bylaws in those other towns, and we added a little bit because we added some other items to be regulated. So the language is a little bit longer, a little bit more specific, and the town council has given us some advice and comments, and that's going to be in the new version that we're going to vote on.
Got it. Now, if things happen, how does this change? How would this change what we have here?
I'm not sure it changes, other than the fact that what you see here are the 3 types of products that we can actually get and ship off island. Believe it or not, the plastics
shouldn't we have a plastic that is for petroleum-based plastic and one for compostable plastic?
I think we should.
Would that make sense?
I think we should have a separate one for compostable. The rest of it is still going to go shipped off in bales.
Yeah.
You know who ships it off now?
Who?
It goes by Cape Cod Express. And we pay them.
Yep.
We pay the boat. They drive to a facility in southeastern Massachusetts, and we pay the facility that they bring it to take those plastics. The cardboard that you see here, that's actually something that can be sold. And the same thing with the tin and the aluminum. So it's important that we continue to recycle. I'm going to tell you something. The manufacturers and distributors of plastic products, they manufacture these toxic materials. We buy them, and then it becomes our responsibility and our cost to get rid of these things.
Right.
That cycle needs to be broken.
Okay.
And the message needs to go to the beer distributors, the beer manufacturers. We don't mind having a 6-pack with a holder, but we want that holder to be not a flexible piece of petroleum plastic. And they'll eventually get the message. But it has to start somewhere.
Bruce, you don't seem like you don't look like a typical environmentalist. You know that?
I don't know that I'm a strict environmentalist, and I'm not certainly the hippie dippy guy I was back in my teens.
Were you that way in the old days?
Yeah, and the Army got me and all that good stuff.
Yep.
But as we get older, we begin to start to understand what we can do to help. And being angry and aggressive is not going to help. This bylaw is going to help because it's going to serve as a guide to the individual and family user, and we'll be better consumers. And it's going to serve as a warning to the distributors that on Nantucket there's a bylaw.
And and that's what we need. We're taking the first. We're not the first step, but we're taking an important step, aren't we?
That's right.
In letting these corporations know that if you want to sell your beer or whatever you want to sell here, you got to get it together. You got to they should be part of that culture.
They should.
Shouldn't they? They should step it up and just make it happen.
You're absolutely right, and it starts somewhere. Just like the ban on the single-use water bottles started with Concord and grew to Great Barrington, Sudbury, and Lincoln, and it's growing elsewhere, Seattle, Malibu. It starts somewhere. If Nantucket takes the step to regulate those water bottles and these other single-use petroleum plastic products, and it starts to work, because we as a community embrace it, other communities will see that it works and hopefully follow suit.
I'm with you. How are you feeling, by the way? You mentioned...
I'm good. I got some health issues that are manageable, and thanks to a stem cell transplant 3 years ago, I'm getting better.
No way!
And by the way,
I didn't think you could get those.
Today is the 3rd anniversary of my stem cell anniversary.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
How did you get that done? Where did you have that done?
Dana-Farber.
Yep.
I'm in a clinical trial of an experimental drug that worked fantastically, and one of the maintenance options for this experiment was to either just go on lower dosage of the medications or to have a stem cell transplant. And what they do is they destroy your bone marrow that's creating the cancerous cells, in my case too many plasma cells, that became tumors in large bones.
Is it a bone-related cancer?
It is. It's a blood-related that lodges in the large bones. It's like leukemias, red blood cells, things like that. So what they do is they extract stem cells from you, the way almost kidney dialysis works, same kind of a machine. And then they destroy the bone marrow that is making too many plasma cells. And now you have no immunities, all wiped out. And then what happens is they re-infuse your stem cells into your body. And stem cells are like universal soldiers. If they see that, oh, we need lung cells, they make lung cells. If they see we need bone marrow, we make bone marrow. And it took 5 weeks for my bone marrow to regenerate to make the right number of white blood cells, red blood cells, plasma cells.
And they took them from your healthy stem cells.
They took my
They didn't
own
take
blood.
them from an embryo or...
No.
Are they doing that at Dana-Farber? Not yet.
Yes, they do both kinds of stem cell work there.
Oh.
But this is easier because it's less likely that your body will reject your own cells.
Of course.
So after 5 weeks, my bone marrow began to produce sufficient number of cells for me to leave. And so far, the plasma cell count is within the right tolerance so that it's unlikely my cancer will return as long as we continue to manage it.
That is great.
Yeah.
And you feel good, you look good.
I feel good. Every day is a holiday.
That sure is. And thank you for bringing this up at town meeting. And we're gonna get the message out. And I've got good vibes on this one.
Thank you very much.
Wish you the best.
I appreciate it, and I hope you all will come. Vote for the changes to the word
October 10th.
in the article that we've been submitting, and let's get this passed and make it work.
You got it.
Just so you know, these are the resin identification codes that are on the bottom of the plastics.
All right.
And the 1s and 2s are recyclable pretty easily. Everything else isn't. These are different types of plastics. The number 7s that you see that say PLA or PHA under it, those are plant-based plastics, and that's how you tell when you go to the stores what it is. If it doesn't say PLA or PHA, it can't be recycled.
Well, if you see a number 7, what does that tell you?
It tells you the resins that are in that type of plastic are a kind of a mixture of a whole bunch of different plastics.
Oh, I see.
This 6 is polystyrene. This is polypropylene. It's used for toys and luggage and junk like that. This is low-density polyethylene. These are the shopping bags. Number 5s are the caps on some of the soda bottles. Number 3, you all know, is PVC. We make pipes and stuff out of that.
I wonder about that.
Can't be recycled very well.
No, but I mean, after a certain amount of time, that's all plumbers use now is PVC. I mean, is that going to come back and bite us? It's a chemical. It's a petroleum chemical based. It has to break down.
It's made out of a petroleum-based resin that can leach toxins. We're poisoning our planet, and we have to get better.
Gosh.
But I wanted to show that to you.
Thanks for doing that.